Have you been noticing more of those dark purple blotches showing up on your arms and hands that actually seem to be showing up out of nowhere? You don't even remember bumping into anything, and yet there they are. Well, these very frustrating red marks and bruises happen to a lot of us as we get older. And even though that's what we call them, they actually have a scientific name called purpura or actinic purpura, and it happens as our skin gets thinner and more fragile over time. So if they make you self-conscious, you're not alone. You might figure it's something you just have to live with, but the good news is there are some real strategies along with some key ingredients that can make a huge difference. And in this video today, we're going to get into the science about how these happen and what these ingredients are and how they can actually help you. And wherever you're having thinning skin, these purple marks or bruises not only help to eliminate them, but prevent them from occurring in the first place. And getting the skin on the backs of your arms, hands, legs, or wherever you're having this issue from looking like this to this. But before we jump into all of that, if you happen to be new and not familiar with me or my channel, I'm Chris Gibson, a skincare expert. I've been doing skincare or in skincare for almost 40 years, helping folks find skincare strategies, ingredients, and treatments that are going to work, not break the bank, and not do you more harm than good. So if that's the kind of skincare content you've been looking for here on YouTube, I hope you'll stick around and subscribe. So let's talk about the big picture. What's really happening here? Well, the technical term, as I mentioned, is purpura, a much prettier name than this condition really deserves. It's most common or shows up first in people over 50, and it is a direct result of changes that are happening and occurring deeper in the layers of your skin. For decades, your skin has been exposed to UVA, UVB light from the sun. And in my generation, and in case you didn't know, I'm 62, a lot of people didn't wear sunscreen back in the day, so a lot of this sun damage went on unchecked for many, many years. And what happens over time is that UV light from the sun damages the actual DNA in your cells that are recreating new cells, degrades and breaks down the collagen and elastin fibers in your skin, which is the very structure that holds everything together. And we have to think of collagen itself as the structure that holds your skin up. And as that scaffolding and structure weakens, the middle layers of your skin also weaken. That's your dermis. And unfortunately, that leads to it getting thinner. And at the same time, and as you all know, with anything to do with aging skin, there's always a at the same time, the tiny blood vessels and capillaries just below the skin become much more fragile. So it's much easier for them to break and bleed, leading to these marks, these bruises, and in the case of severe thinning of the dermis, you can get skin tears where a flap of skin pulls back away from the top, leaving a pretty ugly sore that can actually lead to scarring. And then there are also a whole lot of other things that can play a role here: medications, the natural aging process, of course, long-time steroid use, and yes, there can be a genetic predisposition to this condition in the skin. So now that we know what's going on, let's do what we always do on my channel and talk about the science and what really works. And we'll call this the Dermatology Toolkit. The number one non-negotiable strategy from now on, whether it's the first time you've ever used it, is sun protection. Whether that is the wearing of sunscreens, which I highly recommend. Also, protecting the skin with sun protective clothing, hats, anything to cut down on any further damage from UVA, UVB light in your skin. The second powerhouse tool for this condition in our Dermatology Toolkit is the use of certain types of ingredients like retinoids, retinoic acid, retinaldehyde, and BAKUCHIOL. Now, we've talked at length on the channel about all of these, all the way from prescription tretinoin to retinoic acid itself. You can get these in many different flavors, formulas, applications. We're not looking to apply tretinoin, a high-end prescription retinoid, to the skin here. What we're looking at is applying an ingredient that's going to help regenerate that collagen, help strengthen those tiny little blood vessels, and bring back that cushion of skin that the scaffolding has let fall in order to better protect you from those bumps and scrapes that cause these types of conditions. These are all vitamin A derivatives that have a mountain of research and mountain of years of use, proving they are one of the few types of ingredients that actually reverse this type of damage, repair skin, and protect skin from further damage down the line. And for those of you who have sensitive skin and are not able to use retinoids of any kind, there is BAKUCHIOL, a natural plant extract that gives the same benefits without the risk of those side effects that typically go along with retinoid use, which can be dryness, flakiness, irritation. BAKUCHIOL being a wonderful alternative for you. And as always in my videos, I will link below in the video description to my recommendations for each of these things that we talk about today, things that I use myself or would use, so you don't have to go searching for them. You can check them out when we're done here today. And then finally, the other thing in our toolkit is a very solid, lipid-rich ceramide cream to help rebuild your skin's barrier, strengthen it, cap all of these other wonderful ingredients into the skin, keeping them active longer, essentially instantly giving your skin back some of its plumpness and moisture, and at the same time allowing these areas to heal much, much faster. Now, with that essential foundation laid, let's talk about these supportive ingredients, oils, natural approaches that actually have been through the scientific hoops, as you will, clinical studies, and proven to be beneficial for these type of bruising and skin tear conditions. Let's start with Arnica oil. And the theory behind why Arnica works so well is that it actually helps speed up the repair process in the skin, kind of like cleaning up the mess after an impact. Some studies have shown, especially when it comes to bruising after cosmetic procedures, showed that topical Arnica oil helped those bruises heal and disappear much faster. But I also want to note here, because we are looking at the science behind these oils, the overall scientific evidence in some of these studies tends to be mixed, with some people seeing a much faster, better effect, if you will, than other people are seeing. So it's not always the same for everybody. They don't always get the same results. So the way we want to look at Arnica oil is as a supportive mechanism in your strategy against these bruises and tears, and not as a preventative treatment. Next up, let's talk about vitamin K oil. Now, vitamin K has got a big reputation when it comes from bruising and blood clotting, and in fact, you'll find it in many, if not all, bruise skin formulas, topical formulas, especially when it comes to superficial bruises and spider veins. And vitamin K in the diet does help with blood clotting, so the theory being a topical vitamin K would be able to provide some similar type of benefit for the surface of the skin. And almost all of us are aware of the process of a bruise healing. It's red and purple, then it becomes kind of a yellow-brown as those blood cells are broken up and taken away by the body. And the idea here is that vitamin K can help that process along much faster. And the good news with vitamin K as a topical is that in those studies, when put up against a placebo, did actually show a solid improvement, not a mixed improvement, where the people who applied topical vitamin K did actually see a difference. So vitamin K oil, a supportive oil, need to be thought of as something that can help the skin heal and not a preventative, just like we said with Arnica oil. Now, the third ingredient I want to talk about here is Helichrysum oil. And this one is one that I've used myself personally many, many times with bruises and spider veins. In fact, there are a whole host of videos where I include Helichrysum oil as a method or strategy to dealing with these types of skin issues. The unfortunate thing with Helichrysum oil is that we have to rely on a lot of consumer use and feedback. There aren't a ton of studies or clinical studies on it, and the few human studies that do exist do show anti-inflammatory properties, and only one human clinical study done on post-op surgical areas on folks showed that Helichrysum oil really did improve the healing process, wound healing, and eliminated a lot of the bruising and scarring that went along with it. So we really do need to see a lot more actual scientific studies, but Helichrysum oil has been used for centuries for this purpose. It's well received by the skin and tolerated very well across skin types as long as it's diluted with a carrier oil. Never want to put an essential oil on your skin without first patch testing it after cutting it to at least a 1-to-1 ratio with a carrier oil, which would be olive oil, argan oil, coconut oil, jojoba oil. Any of those will work. And that said, let's talk about an application protocol, because we're already dealing with a compromised skin structure, skin thinning, bruising, and irritation. We don't want to make that situation worse. The idea here is to help improve this healing process and to help improve your skin's health so that you combat these more readily. And I want to point out here that if you're someone who is suddenly starting to see these types of bruises, or you're having a lot of them, it really is a great idea to visit your dermatologist or your medical doctor so they can run some tests to make sure there's nothing going on that would be causing these outside of the things that we've spoken of in today's video. Now, for applying any of these things that we've talked about today topically, the key here is to be very, very gentle, using a light, gentle massaging motion when applying any of these types of products, so we're not putting more stress on the skin and those delicate capillaries just underneath. A gentle massage can, however, actually improve the skin's superficial circulation, making your skin stronger and helping to heal these areas much more quickly, and doing this application process with a product twice per day. And again, as a reminder, if you're going to be applying any type of essential oil to your skin, you must do a 48-hour patch test, and you must dilute the product with a carrier oil or use a product that's already done that for you. And again, I will list those recommendations down below, along with the essential oil carrier oil ratio you would need to use if you decide to do that for yourself. All right, now so far we focused on what you can do topically to the skin. So now let's talk about what you can do to help your skin from the inside out. We've definitely already established that the core issue is the breakdown of collagen in your skin. So anything we can do to support that process from the inside out by adding things like collagen peptides to our diet, lots of scientific proof there on how well those work, especially when taken over time. And we've all heard it before, seeing strengthening of the hair and nails, and of course, hydration and thickness of the skin. All of those, again, proven in scientific studies. And quickly, collagen peptides are not collagen itself. They are the amino acids or the building blocks your body needs to make that collagen. And of course, we do get some of that from food. Bone broth is an excellent source of collagen peptides or those amino acids, but there are also many supplements you can check out that we've talked about here on the channel. Again, I'll link to those below for you as well. So while these topical treatments are working to help your skin from the outside, you're actually giving your skin what it needs to make the repairs from the inside. And if you found today's science-based breakdown helpful, please give the video a like, comment below, share it out, let me know. And for even more ways to roll back the clock on skin and body aging, be sure to check out this video that I picked out for you next. Thank you for supporting my work and watching today. I really do appreciate you all. That said, stay beautiful, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you over on that next video.